Welcome to the Great Game. After 4 turns playing scenario 20.1, the afternoon crisis, the Prussians regained control of Mars-la-Tour, and the French swept away all resistance from Vionville. Ken and I decided this was a good place to end. Here are our thoughts about this scenario and the game in general. So, Ken and I just finished turn 4, and we have 1 turn left in the scenario, and we're taking a look at the strategic situation. So, where we're at, the Prussians hold Mars-la-Tour and Tronville, where the cannons are over here. That's the Prussians. The French have Vionville. And it's unlikely that the Prussians are going to be able to counterattack and take it, because to do that you need infantry, and there's no infantry nearby. The Prussians are already thinking, we're going to try and hang on to Mars-la-Tour, forget Vionville. What that amounts to then is a marginal victory for the French. That's where we're at right now, with 1 turn to go.
Yep.
What do you think the odds are of the French taking Mars-la-Tour to get a decisive victory?
Not good. It comes down to they have to get a couple chips in a row. They'd have to get the 4th Corps and the Marshal Bazaine almost in a row so they can double whammy them. Maybe they could get in there. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's too hard. Considering what we've played through 4 turns and seeing what they can do, I don't think so.
Yeah. Plus you have to take it with infantry. The cavalry are not going to take the town. Artillery cannot assault you. So you have to get next to the town and you have to assault.
It would have been nice if I could have held it the first time, right?
Right.
That would have been a different story.
Yeah. And I would also say that the 3rd Corps is out of position to help the 4th Corps take Mars-la-Tour.
There's a lot of terrain over there that you have to run through. When you're moving 3 and you have to go through, 3 hexes of woods, it takes a long time.
Yeah. You have to either go upslope or through the woods. So the 3rd Corps are out of position. And of course, you don't get any extra victory points for taking Tronville, which the 3rd Corps is in position to potentially do something, but you don't get any extra points. Which brings me to the victory conditions for this scenario seem a little bit out of whack. First of all, the French are attacking Vionville with a whole corps. And the Prussians are holding with remnants. We've got detachments and we've got a Prussian corps that doesn't have any headquarters, so they can't move independently. And you just brush them aside like nothing.
Where we are now should be the draw position.
Yes, this should be the draw position.
If the Prussians hold Vionville, that should be a victory for them.
Yeah. On the other hand, if we continued playing and the French 3rd Corps could take Tronville, that should be a more important victory, because you've got a whole corps. They come down the valley to Vionville, then they can go after Tronville. And you should get points for taking Tronville, because then if I wanted to, I could just abandon Tronville and not be any the worse for it.
Right. Just hedgehog in Mars-la-Tour.
Yeah. So I object to the victory conditions for this scenario. As we say, this should be a draw right here.
French should be able to do this.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the game and play balance. The French infantry are great at firing.
Tons of firepower.
Plus the machine guns, which can shoot separately, and they get a +1. So firing is good, but assaulting, the Prussians have the edge. First of all, they've got slightly better movement, the infantry. They can either move 4 or in some cases 5, as opposed to the French that can only move 3. They have better morale. The Prussians generally are at 8, the French are generally at 7.
Yeah.
So when you had your lone guy in Mars-la-Tour, the Prussians have the slight edge at standing up to your fire because they have better morale. And then they actually get a +1 modifier when it's Prussian infantry assaulting. They get a +1 on that as well. The French don't get that. The design of the game is well balanced in terms of each side gets pluses and minuses in certain categories.
It's asymmetrical. It's good like that.
Yeah, I do like that. Now, we only had this scenario to test it against because there are 2 short scenarios. The other 4 are long scenarios. And I don't think we're in a position to invest potentially, 6 weeks.
Yeah, 14 turns on some of these.
Yeah.
takes a session, though, every turn. It takes 2 hours. So you're talking,
28
that's
hours?
a lot of hours. Yeah, that's a lot of hours to invest in the Franco-Prussian War.
However, the Franco-Prussian War is a little bit like the Civil War, right?
It is.
The uniforms are kind of similar, the hats.
Yeah, they look very much like Civil War soldiers. Yeah, it's amazing. Or maybe the Civil War soldiers look like these guys have.
Yeah.
They modeled their uniforms, I think, against the French or something.
So this could be looked at as kind of an alternative to the Civil War, similar types of tactics, different armies, different terrain.
I like this. I like I like this better than the Civil War.
Really? Why?
I don't know. Better cavalry. Cavalry could do some. Unfortunately, the Prussians were in a position where they couldn't use their cavalry for cavalry. They had to use it to take places and try and hold it. Yeah. But if you could actually use your cavalry for cavalry, that would be cool.
We didn't get to charge very much, did we?
No.
It would have been fun if we could have gotten into position to charge the cavalry. Either one of us.
Yeah.
It has to be out in the open. And cavalry are very vulnerable to fire, cannon fire and infantry fire. And you got to survive that to be in a position to do a charge. And I'm sure situations could come up in a campaign where you can bring your cavalry to bear. The other thing we didn't get to try out is to rebuild some units. So we've got some battle-worn units, and the only way you can rebuild them up to full strength is in the overnight turn. And so since we're playing a short scenario, this was just a short battle in the afternoon.
Look how long a day is, though. If you wanted to go from 5 a.m. to, 8, that's, I don't know how many
turns.
That's
a lot of turns.
10, 20 minus 4, so 16 turns or something.
Yeah.
That's a long way to go before you can build your guys back, because they're going to be dead by, 10 a.m. They'll be, broken down.
And so for rebuilding units, there are only, 3 night turns?
That's a long haul, yeah. Wow.
The other thing that might be worth mentioning about the rules, there's no index. And so the rules are I found them pretty easy to grasp, but it's hard to go back and look up this specific rule. We spent a lot of time flipping pages because there's no index. It turns out that there is a table of contents. You can get it in the online resources. You can get the table of contents, but no index. So if you want to look up a specific thing,
they needed it. Yeah, someone realized they needed the thing, so they made it.
But I would say the rules are straightforward. It's definitely accessible, which is a key criterion for me. They're well written and accessible, so it's easy to understand. I think we got to the point where we were just able to play and not worry too much about the rules.
Constantly had to think about what's the difference between a break test, a casualty hit, and a morale hit and all that. But we got that sorted out.
Yeah, I think we got that sorted out. And so I would give a thumbs up on the rules and how they're written. Give it an index and you're golden. And then it moves quickly. Anyway, I think it's worth considering. And even though it's a war that is not often modeled and people don't usually get into it, I think it's worth consideration. People should definitely take a look at this game.
I think if you like the American Civil War, you'd like this.
Yeah. Okay, that's it from us. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. This has been The Great Game.